Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we have a very special guest in the form of Carrie Hope Fletcher,
Hi.
who is currently on the Addams Family tour playing Wednesday Addams. Thank you for being on the channel.
Pleasure, thanks for coming to see me.
The social accounts just blew up when we said we were having you, which has been great because everyone wanted us to talk to you. So, I want to start with a bit of a throwback. So you started musical theatre when you were in 2001.
Yep.
Playing in Les Mis as like young Eponine. How was that first experience for you?
I don't really remember much of it. I was just saying actually in another interview that I don't ever remember thinking of like the scale of what I was doing. It was just something fun to something fun in the evenings to do after school. It was just something I really enjoyed doing, and I kind of wish, looking back on it, that I realised the scale of what I was doing so I could have appreciated it more. But at the same time, I'm glad I didn't, because I probably would have freaked out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were, how old were you then?
7.
So that's like crazy.
Yeah.
And since then, you've gone on to do so many incredible roles, like in Chitty and War of the Worlds, and then going back to Les Mis.
Yeah.
Did your younger self ever think that you would do so much by the age of 24?
No. I think I hoped I would, but I don't think I ever actually thought, I would have done this much. Playing Eponine was like the dream for me for years and years and years. Ever since I was a child and played little Eponine, I wanted to come back and play older Eponine. And then I suddenly realised when I was about 16, I was like, oh man, that's the part everyone wants to play. It's going to be like, there's going to be so much competition. It's going to be, really, really hard. So when I actually got to do it, it was my wildest dream come true. It was ridiculous. But then to win an award for playing that part, and then to go on and do so many other amazing roles and amazing things, it's like, it's literally beyond my wildest dreams. It's crazy.
I can imagine. I mean, I wouldn't screw that. So I said that you're on tour with Addams, which you're doing now. For people that don't know what the show is about, can you give them like a brief description of it?
Okay, this show is the Addams Family that everyone knows and loves from like, the TV shows and the films, but they're a few years on now. Wednesday's all grown up, she's 18 years old and she's got herself a boyfriend, and he's from a normal family. He's a normal boy, and this whole show is about the two families, the crazy Addams family and the not so crazy Beinekeys, coming together and it all going terribly wrong. And
what was it that kind of drew you to that character? What made you want to play Wednesday?
Wednesday's always been a favourite of mine. I love the films. I love Christina Ricci playing Wednesday. I love that kind of dark humour. I've always been a big fan of Tim Burton films. I love those kind of movies and those kind of stories. And so when I heard that Wednesday and the Addams Family had been turned into a musical, that's like two of my favourite things coming together, and I was like, right, I need to be part of this. But I'd never heard of it until I was halfway through Les Mis, my first year of Les Mis, and my agent called and said, there's this composer called Andrew Lipper who's doing a concert in London for the first time, and he's interested in you singing one of his songs. Would you be interested? I was like, yeah, absolutely. He said, oh, he wants to hear you sing first, so send him a few videos. So I sent over these videos of me singing on my own for like West End Live and stuff like that. And he came back and said, oh, I'll give her the song Pulled from the Addams Family. I said, oh, Addams Family's a musical? That's cool. I started like Googling and became obsessed. And after the concert was over, he said to me, if the Addams Family ever comes to the UK, you're my Wednesday. And I was like, that's really cool that you said that, but I'm not going to read into that. I'm not, because maybe he was just like massaging my ego, maybe he was just, trying to be nice, whatever. And then last year I was on tour with Chitty Bang Bang, and the producer of that knocked on my door and said, just to let you know, we're producing the Addams Family next year, and Andrew Lipper seems to already know who you are. And I was like, yeah, I did a concert with him like 3 years ago. And he was like, oh, well, you're first in for auditions next week. And I was like, all right, okay, thank you very much. I closed the door and I was like, oh my God, like had this like little like freak out in my room, and I was like, can this actually be happening? That's insane. So the next week I travelled from Canterbury back to London to do an audition at like stupid o'clock in the morning, and then found out 2 days later I got the part. I was like, that's insane. This is insane. And he stuck to his word. I know, and that's the thing, I was like, are you joking? Like, you said that thing like 3 years ago that I thought you probably would have forgotten, and then, yeah, you remembered. It happened. And you've been on tour before anyway, this isn't your first tour. Do you like prefer tour life, or do you prefer just kind of being in one place all the time? Both has its ups and downs. Staying in London for a show, it's nice to go home to your own flat every night. It's nice to sort of be around your family and just sort of have sort of like a vaguely normal life for a little while. But when you're on tour, you get to see parts of the country you wouldn't usually see. You know, we've been to Dublin, and we're going to Belfast next week. And I'd never been to Dublin, never been to Edinburgh. No, I had been to Edinburgh, but not for like long enough to actually appreciate it. And then we're off to Glasgow as well. And it's just nice to see the country.
Yeah, you kind of then realise how big the UK is.
Absolutely.
You kind of, when you live in London, I feel like you always just stay in London and you never like, travel out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a good positive of that.
Absolutely.
And the cast that you're surrounded by have like a crazy amount of credits.
Yes.
I mean, what's it like to work with all of them, and what will you miss the most when it finishes?
The cast are incredible. Like working with Sam and Cameron, me and Cameron worked together before. We were in Les Mis together. We were father and daughter in Les Mis, and then we're father and daughter in the Addams. I think we're just destined to play father and daughter forevermore. And Les, of course. They're all incredible. They're such fun. Like there isn't anyone in this cast that you know, ruins the experience at all. Everyone's just a wonderful human, and I've never seen a cast so in love with the show before. Everyone adores this show and the parts that we're playing, and I think this is one of those shows that could never get boring and it can never get dull after however many years of doing it. Everyone's always going to love it because it's so vibrant and crazy. And the thing I'm going to miss the most, it genuinely is the people. I'm going to miss. I've made so many friends on this show. And it's, you know, people that you see every day, like Oliver, for instance. Me and Oliver are literally in each other's pockets all the time because we play on stage boyfriend and girlfriend, and then we're off stage, we spend all of our time together. So I'm going to miss him a lot, and Scott Page is like my tour husband. Oh, I love that voice so much, and we did Chitty together as well. So we've gone from 2 tours consecutively together. I think we're just constantly going to find ways to work with each other. Scott. It's like, what are you auditioning for? Right, I'm going to call my agent and make sure I get an audition down. I think that's going to be the rest of our lives now, me and Scott.
Oh, but it seems like you've had a great time with it.
Oh, it's been amazing. And we're going to Singapore in a few weeks' time.
Which is insane.
I know, like, what a great way to cap off a tour.
It's like when you did Les Mis in Dubai.
And then to Dubai, yeah.
Like crazy. How do the audiences differ when you go out of the UK?
They don't differ hugely. You know, everyone loved the show in Dubai. It had great fun, and we had standing ovations every night. And we were kind of, you know, worried because there's part of the shows that are a little bit risque, and in a country like Dubai, you never know how it's going to go down. But everyone really enjoyed it. Everyone loved it. Yeah, and so I think Singapore are going to love the Addams Family. We've already had like a great reception from them, like the tweets that have been coming through, like, I've already got my tickets, I can't wait to come. So I think it's going to be great. Nice.
Yeah, you know, people are like really looking forward to it when they get there. So I want to talk about YouTube. So you kind of first started out as the Dear Tom, Dear Carrie series with your brother to kind of keep in touch with each other. And now you've kind of just gone and made so much more from it. And what do you love most about creating videos?
I love the sort of instant creativity of making YouTube videos, and it's with everything that I do, there's sort of different levels of creativity that I have with them, and different levels of interaction, and sort of like the gratification that comes from it, because a YouTube video I can film, edit and upload within a couple of hours, and then I can see the reaction to it, and it's sort of really satisfying to be able to create something and then see the reaction from it within a couple of hours. And with the shows, you know, it's sort of at that extra step further where it takes, you know, a few months to get a show up and running, and then every night we get the audience giving us their reaction to it. And then reviews coming out and all that kind of thing, and then there's books, which takes, you know, like a year and a half to like actually, you know, you kind of nurture it and cradle it and baby it for sort of anywhere between 6 months to a year and a half for me personally. And so then when you sort of hand it over, it's that terrifying, like, oh my god, shakily handing books back at Simon. He's like, I really hope you like it because I spent so long working on it. So yeah, it's nice to have sort of lots of different things that have different levels of creativity, and yeah, seeing how, you know, how people are going to react to them after a certain amount of time. It's good fun. And you
mentioned your book. Is writing something that you always had a passion for?
Yeah. I mean, I need to dig out some of the notebooks from when I was a child. There's always this one that always sticks out, which is awful, terrible, but I still have it somewhere. I used to print them off and like have like really crap clip art like on the front, and it was called The Command of the Fire.
Amazing.
I know. Maybe I should rewrite it one day. It's still terrible. It was terrible. But yeah, I, you know, had chapters and chapters of that terrible, terrible book. And then of course, you know, I did a complete rip-off of Harry Potter, as I think most kids did. But I used to give my English teacher's extra homework to mark. I used to be like, I've written another chapter, Mr. Brown, can you please mark it? Thank you very much. He used to be like, oh God, whenever he had me in his class. So I was just like that I was like the Hermione Granger of the English class. It was something I was so enthusiastic about and just loved so much that I just wanted to soak up every possible thing that I could. Like, who does extra homework?
I mean,
ridiculous. Ridiculous. But yeah, it's something that I've always loved and I've always done, no matter what else I was doing. And I'm just, very lucky that I now also get to call that a job.
So what's the amazing thing about being on tour is that you can also do your book tours as well. You get to see everyone around the country that maybe can't travel into London.
Absolutely.
Which is an amazing experience.
And it's also nice for me because when I was in Les Mis, I had 3 days holiday. But because I was, in London, those 3 days holiday was like, right, let's go to Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, let's just bosh it all in those 3 days. And it's absolutely exhausting when you do it like that. And the day that I got back to Les Mis was the first and only day I ever forgot a line.
Oh my God.
I know, I was absolutely exhausted, I was so tired. But doing it this way whilst I'm on tour and doing sort of like a signing, it's sort of like a signing every two weeks. So it's manageable, like bite-sized signings, it's nice.
And how do you manage your voice on tour?
Good question. It is hard. It's really hard. And we do back-to-back shows on tour as well. So on Friday we'll do a 5 and an 8:30.
Yeah, that is insane.
Which means we'll have about 20 minutes between the first show ending and the half an hour call for the second show starting.
Lovely.
It's hard. It's really, really hard. It's mainly sleep. Just saying no to going out and partying and just being like, no, I'm going to put my slippers on and my pyjamas at home, I'm going to watch the Great British Bake Off and then I'm going to go to bed.
I mean, that sounds like a great night.
That's literally the plan for tonight. I've got a few people staying with me at the moment, like we all stay together and the plan's like, right, we're cooking pasta and watching the Bake Off, right, and then we'll go to bed. Ace.
Amazing. I wanted to ask you, what else do you want to do? Like, do you have a big dream that you still haven't achieved and you really... I mean, like a role.
The main one is Elphaba. That's a part I've always wanted to play, and the older I get as well, the more Glinda sort of becomes exciting to me.
You could be Louise Dim and you could do both.
I know, there is always that option. There is always that possibility. But also Sweeney Todd is a big one for me. I love Sweeney Todd so much, but I'd want to be Mrs. Lovett. Yeah. So I need at least sort of like 20 years to pass by before I get to play that part.
You got time.
I've got time. But yeah, I'd love to play Mrs. Lovett one day.
No, that would be. I mean, Elphaba is like a crazy role, and even that. I mean, insane.
It's an insane part, yeah.
And lastly, I wanted to say, do you have any advice for young people that want to kind of get into this field, because it's so difficult?
It's hard, and it's so easy to give up really quickly as well because of the amount of rejection. But it's fascinating because at the moment we're getting to the end of this tour, so everyone's auditioning for things that are coming up next. And from an outsider's perspective, and from my perspective, I've had an amazing career. I've had the chance to play all of these incredible roles. But for every role that I've got, there's been about 7, 8 that I auditioned for and didn't get.
Yeah.
But no one ever sees that because I never talk about it. I don't want the embarrassment of being like, I auditioned for this and didn't get the part. Wasn't that great? So for every role that I do get, there were so many that I auditioned for and just didn't even get past the first round. And that's just part of this job. And half the time it will be, you're a great singer, you're a great actor, you're just 2 inches too small. Sorry, sometimes
it's so picky and precise.
Yeah, or you the leading man that we've already cast, you just didn't look right next to him. Bye. That's that's just part of it, and it's so easy to get disheartened and downtrodden by all of that rejection. You start it starts to play mind games. I'm like, oh my God, it's me. I'm never going to work again. I'm so terrible at this. But you've just got to persevere. You're one yes away from having, the job of your dreams, and you've just got to wait until you get that yes and keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yeah, and just kind of not give up.
Absolutely.
It's so hard to just be like, do you know what?
It'd be so easy just to be like, never mind. Yeah. Before I got Les Mis, I did an audition for a musical that I won't talk about, but I did an audition for a musical, and literally afterwards I called my mum and then my agent being like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. That was the worst audition I've ever done in my life. Oh my God. And then I auditioned for Les Mis the next week and got it. So you're literally like that one good audition away from getting the job of your dreams, no matter how many crap ones you've had in the past.
Do you find a lot of pressure in people comparing your success to your brothers?
When I first started out, I did. Yeah, when I first started out, I did. And when I wasn't doing exactly what I wanted to do, when I wasn't like before I got Les Mis, which was like my first big role. Before then it was really hard because I felt like I hadn't quite proven myself yet. And even though I knew what I was capable of, and even though I knew that I was good at acting, that I was good at singing, there was no way for me to like prove it, and there was no way for me to say, this is what I would always, like, even if my brother wasn't my brother, I'd still be doing this. Like, this is what I love doing. That never would have changed. But now that I've, you know, done all these amazing things, and I've kind of got a back catalogue of parts that I've got on my own, it's easier for me to just brush it off because I know what I'm capable of.
And you have two completely different careers anyway.
Totally.
You know, musical theatre and like being in a band is completely different.
Completely different, and there's never been any rivalry between my brother. We've always been so supportive.
Very supportive, He comes across a lot.
I think it's because of the age difference. I think had we been, you know, had we been born sort of closer together, there would have been a bit more sort of like sibling rivalry. But because he's 7 years older than me, it's always been sort of like he's my protected big brother.
Nice,
you know, looks after me, and I've always really looked up to him because he's that much older than me that I could, you know, look to him for guidance. And it's always been that way.
Oh, that's nice though. Okay, so lastly, you've sent in so many fan questions, so we're just going to go through a couple that have been sent in. The first one was from somebody called Sheila. She says, do you get to keep anything from your previous shows as a like memento, like any props or costumes?
I'm not supposed to, but I definitely have. In fact, when I was in Chitty, I had quite a few different costumes. I had a pink one, a blue one, there was like a really nice doll and a music box one. And one of the boys in the cast spent the last week that I was there, and he got strips of all of the material and made me a tote bag out of all my costumes. I was like, that's the best keepsake ever. And from Les Mis, I kept my shoes because no one was going to want those shoes. I wore them for like 3 years. They were disgusting by the end, and I was like, you're going to throw these away, aren't you? And I was like, then they are mine. And I also got given my dresser, Caroline Cutler. She made me this Barbie doll with all of the bits of my costume. And weirdly, someone also did that for me, my dresser in Birmingham, Helen Reeves. She made me a Wednesday doll made out of my costume. So I ended up with all these like dolls of like made out of my costume. But it's such a nice keepsake to have a doll wearing my costume that's actually part of my costume. It's such a cool little keepsake to have.
Yeah, no, that is actually pretty cool. Somebody asked, how do you prepare yourself for a show / get over any nerves? This is someone called Laura Jane, and she's seeing the show in October.
Starting the show with a good cup of tea and a half-hour call is always nice. I've got like piles of letters and stuff and like boxes of postcards, and they get sent to the theatre all on my PO box, and so usually I just sit and reply to a few of them just to distract myself from panicking at all.
Someone says, Maria, what is the most challenging thing about playing Wednesday?
Running around in a corset is, you know, it's hard, and singing in a corset is very difficult. At the beginning of Act 2, I have all the props in the world. I have a scarf, an arrow, a backpack, a doll, a crossbow, a necklace, a ring. Like, keeping track of them all and not dropping any is always sort of like at the forefront of my mind. It's like, don't screw it up, because if you lose any of these, they're all like vital to the next few scenes. So if I lose any of them, we're screwed.
That's it. And last one is from someone called Lily. She says, in your career so far, what has been your wow moment?
It was the 30th anniversary of Les Mis, which I couldn't believe that I'd been asked to be a part of. And we all sang the final notes of One Day More, and Cole Wilkinson, who is the original Jean Valjean, held my hand and then whispered to me, "You were excellent." And I literally went, and just started crying on him, and that will always be something that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Oh, pleasure. Thank you so much.
Make sure you follow Carrie on all of her channels. I'll link them below. And yeah, come and see her in the Addams Family. You haven't got long left, right?
No, only a few more weeks, yeah.
So don't miss it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye.